This is James J. Dillon, the leader of the original Four Horsemen and the holder of 2 Hall of Fame rings, and you're listening to the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
When they're not covering the sports world, they're talking about the world of professional wrestling.
It's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Now, with Justin Simmons, here's Stu Myrick.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling back on the horn after a couple weeks of Longhorn basketball.
I was expecting, good God, is that their music?
By God, it's Kane! No. Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons, welcome back to the horn, and
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody. And we're gonna have our first radio show 2020, start off with a bang, because joining us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline, our dear friend. He is the president of the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. You know, we are the proud broadcast partners of the Hall of Fame, and looking forward to induction weekend this coming May. Cowboy Johnny Mantell, how are you, sir?
Man, I couldn't be any better. Things are going good. Guys are saying they're coming in for induction week. The matches look like spectacular matches on Friday night, and the little seminar Q&A sessions we're having they're going to turn out to just be spectacular. So we're really enjoying some uplift right now.
Yeah, it was great to catch up with you and Kay up in Dallas last weekend at the MLW taping and an Impact, and you gave me a little bit of a sneak preview, so we'll go through that here in just a second. But I want to talk a little bit about this 2020 class, because this is a stacked class, to be sure. You obviously, starting with the modern era inductees, Magnum TA, one of the greatest that, talk about a career that was cut way too short because of his accident, but still makes the rounds and everything. And then Jake the Snake Roberts, one of the best minds in professional wrestling. It's going to be so much fun having those two there and getting the stories that they have, isn't it?
It really is. I got to see Magnum at Starrcade and got to visit with him, and so we're so excited about him and his family coming, and I believe Tessa's going to be with them, so we're going to have a world champion possibly in the building. But yeah, great guy. Terry Allen's a great guy. I'm very excited about him going in. But the entire class, that category alone had 5 Hall of Famers in it, in my mind. I know that a lot of the fans don't know the exact way the process is done, but the ballot has 5 names on it every year, and in that class 2 are inducted. And I'm going to tell you, that ballot had 5 Hall of Famers on it. It was just the number how they fell this year. And each year, I think over the last 10 years that I've really been involved and been watching and paying attention to the ballot gets better every year, and the inductees get better every year, even when we're inducting guys that wrestled back in the 30s and 40s.
Just out of curiosity, when you go through the selection process, how many nominations do you get in a typical year that you go through and the committee goes through?
2 years ago, it was right at 300 that they got in from fans from around the country. Little stories of why this guy was their favorite or why this one deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. This year, I think it was 250 or better. The stories and the nominations that come in vary from a 5 or 10 page document to a 1-page document, or it's just a note, hey, I'd like to nominate this guy for the Hall of Fame. And we try to examine all of them. The committee gets to see them all, and they come through the website. And so that's an exciting process that the fans, because a lot of the territory guys, and you guys hear me talk about this a lot, but a lot of the territory guys, they get left out if they didn't wrestle in more than 2 or 3 territories in their career. And there was guys like that in this business, like Lynn Rossi, when he started up in upstate New York, and when he started coming down here, he got to Tennessee. His wife got pregnant with their first child, Joey, and she said, we're staying here and raising our family. He didn't move anymore. So there's guys like that are overlooked a little bit because of that. And I think that I think it's bringing that balance, really bringing those guys out right now. I think we're really seeing those kind of guys come out on this ballot.
You mentioned territory, and the territory inductee this year, someone near and dear to the hearts of many that are familiar with pro wrestling, especially in the state of Texas, Killer Tim Brooks, who has trained and mentored so many of the current stars, as well as some of the legends. It's going to be so cool to see Killer up there. Just talk about Killer Tim Brooks and what he means to the business.
Well, there's a guy that's done it all, right? He's produced a TV show. He played a TV show for, 4, 5, 6 years in the Dallas area. Johnny Tatum and I booked together for him for about 2.5 years of that time. Trained so many guys, had an impact on so many guys, and we all know he's been fighting his health issues, and Killer's strong and vibrant. And when I talk to him on the phone, it sounds like he's destined to make it to Hall of Fame and get his ring and his hat, and we're excited for him. So there's a big show coming up. I don't have the date in front of me, but there's a big show coming up here pretty soon in Waxahachie for Killer. It's a reunion show of the NWA, the old company that he started back in I guess late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I want to say it's sometime in April, but I could be wrong. But I saw some pub about that. That's going to be a fantastic show. And then for everybody to come to the Hall of Fame and honor him as he takes his rightful place there in the hall, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, and again, every group that we can talk about, we talked about, somebody said something to me the other day about the executive division, and I said, well, gee, this year it's Dory Funk Sr., who ran a territory, raised 2 kids, helped start the Boys Ranch up in Amarillo. Did so many things in and outside of this business that finally getting to honor somebody like Dory Funk Sr. is an honor in itself, I believe.
Yeah, Dory Funk Sr. is, the name alone. That's one of those names, when you hear the name Funk, it just screams, legends. It screams iconic. Texas wrestling, running the Amarillo territory for so long with Dory Jr. and with Terry. It'll be a great night to honor him as well. The tag team, this tag team is, you talk about a career that has transformed, and they've been some of the most dastardly heels in wrestling, and then became some of the most favorite baby faces. Butch and Luke, the Bushwhackers, also known as the Sheep Herders. And I think you mentioned Bushwhacker Luke at least will be there. But talk about the Bushwhackers and them being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I'll tell you, the first thing I said, I haven't talked directly to Butch yet. We've talked in emails, and we've talked in messages back and forth playing tag. That time difference throws me off quite a bit. I don't know why. I have Japan on my phone, but that time difference to New Zealand just throws me off, and we just haven't made contact. But we're going to try tonight. We've got a time set up for tonight to talk. We're expecting both of them to be here, Butch and Luke, to be here in Texas in May, and we're excited about that. I'm excited because I wrestled with them and against them when they were the Fabulous Sheep Herders, and I asked Luke this question. I said, Luke, do you want the plaque to say Sheep Herders or Bushwhackers or both? And he said, really, to be honest with you, we loved it when we were the Sheep Herders, but we made 4 times the money as the Bushwhackers.
That doesn't surprise me, but I guess that's right.
I'm glad you brought that up on your own, because that's what I was going to ask. What were they going to be enshrined in? Were they going to have both names on there? They were really going to have one. Do they have any gear that's in the Hall of Fame right now, or anything that you're expecting to get from them to have presented for that weekend?
Oh, they both have said to me that they're going to bring stuff up for the Hall to have. I mean, every year that's sort of the pride and possession of the hall when these new inductees get inducted and they bring their stuff and to have a Ronnie Garvin towel that he wore in the 60s and 70s and 80s as a world champion, that's a pretty special piece of item to have. And so we're looking forward to seeing what the Sheepburgers bring, and they're going to be a lot of fun in Wichita Falls. I'm already getting phone calls about them doing some commercials for business in town. So we're gonna see what we can get done with them while they're in town to raise some money for the Hall of Fame and make sure that their impact going into the Hall of Fame. Because again, it's special for me because I got to work with them back in the Portland days in 1978, 79 when they had just come to America and they were rugby players, sort of really grasping the wrestling scene and how to do it. So I got them at a really cool time when they had learned the business. They were a little older than I am, and they had learned the business, but they were still learning that work in the ring, getting that work. That they finally became the bushwhackers with their arms swinging and all this stuff. They were still working that stuff out when I met them.
Wow, that's amazing. Talk with Cowboy Johnny Mantell, the president of the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. The Pioneer inductees, George Zaharis and Bobby Mangoff. Very interesting history of George Zaharis, the husband of Babe Zaharis, who was one of the most preeminent female athletes of her time, Olympian and everything. But the Pioneer division is one of those you really get down deep into the history of professional wrestling. Talk about the historic significance of both George Zaharis and Bobby Mangoff.
Well, they wrestled everybody in their era. If somebody had a big name, they were in the ring with them multiple times. I mean, they were as important. Everybody talks about David Von Erich and how great he was. I'm a firm believer that David Von Erich should be in the Hall of Fame, and I shouldn't say that as a president of the board, but I believe David was that good in the ring, and he was that good a guy, and he was that good a professional in the ring when he was wrestling. But without Jimmy Garvin and Sunshine and Precious, David Von Erich's at a little different level. And I'm not taking anything away from the Von Erich name. I'm just saying that it takes both characters in every circumstance to bring out the best in our athletes. But these two guys here, they both wrestled with the very best many times. And as you said, Zaharias with his wife and her athletic ability that she had, my goodness, that was a powerhouse team at one time.
It sure was. It reminds me of the modern day, of course, here in Austin with University of Texas, Aaron Ross, Sonia Richards-Ross, kind of that same deal. Aaron Ross, two-time Super Bowl champion, Sonia Richards-Ross, Olympic gold medalist. So I can only imagine what George and Babe were like back in their day. The television era, King Curtis Ikea, Killer Carl Cox, two of the toughest men that graced the squared circle.
Well, another special pair for me. King Ikea was one of those guys in Hawaii. Every time I went to Japan, I stopped in Hawaii on the way back, and the first person I went and saw was King. He made sure you had a room to sleep in and a place to stay, and he really took care of me every time I was on the island with him. And I got to meet him when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. I met him in Florida.
Wow.
Kenny was down there training with Hiro Matsuda. Killer Carl Cox, the same thing. When I broke into the business, 18 years old, I'm traveling with Jerry Oates and Killer Carl Cox, and I'm sharing rooms with these guys, and we're sharing meals, and I'm hearing stories, and I'm getting lessons, and I'm getting advice, and I'm getting scolded, and I'm getting applauded, and I'm getting, bring yourself back down and pay attention, and all those kind of things, because those two are legends at that time, and that's how good they were at that time. Killer Carl Cox, whether you hated him or you loved him, everybody in the building felt that way. There was no half and half with him. If he was over, he was like Rover. But if he was a hated person, He was hated by everybody, and they would ship people in to hate him. That's how over Killer Carl Cox was, and I'm being honest with you. He did some crazy stuff in his time. You guys ever heard the story about him doing the goose up in Amarillo?
I think I've heard something about it, but I'm not sure I heard it all.
No, I haven't. What are you talking about?
Doing the goose?
During induction weekend, we'll talk about that on the radio. We'll save that for a spectacular moment.
All right.
Okay.
Killer Carl Cox rescued a goose from a lake where he was living in these apartments and killed it back to health. And he ended up using that goose in the ring for an angle.
Oh,
I'm telling you the truth.
All right, we're gonna have to get the full story when we're up there in Wichita Falls that weekend. The ladies inductees, Debbie Combs, one of the ladies that paved the way for what we see today, and Luna Vachon, who a lot of modern fans remember her stint in WWE. Just talk about how special it is to induct both Debbie Combs and Luna Vachon.
Well, let me just say something real quick about the last two, King Curtis IK and Killer Carl Cox. Mm-hmm. We have King Curtis IK's widow coming, and the young man that wrestles as his son today in Japan. And Killer Carl Cox will have his family here to represent himself. Now to the women's division, Debbie Combs and Luna Vachon. Debbie is over the moon. She's being inducted into the same Hall of Fame her mother was inducted into. And we are really proud to have her come down. She's a Bales bondsman in Nashville, Tennessee. So you all are going to have to straighten up during this weekend.
Oh, wow.
She will take care of any problems. But very excited, very nice lady. Cannot wait to get her in Wichita Falls. And then with Luna Vachon, this year comes Butcher and Dee, and Luna's daughter is going to come to induct her mother. So we're excited about having that happening this year in Wichita Falls.
Absolutely, it was good to see Butcher last year there in Wichita Falls. Just met him briefly, and it'll be good to see him again. Referee division, Dick Worley. That's one of the very first referees I remember watching way back in the day, and he was the one with the blue shirt, the bow tie. He looked like he could really take care of justice in the ring. He was one of those referees, didn't look that big, but if you messed with him, he was going to knock you out. And so it'll be really cool to see Dick Worley inducted in the referee division.
Yeah, again, when we started this division, we said that we were probably going to induct deceased referees for a while to get caught up. And that's sort of the case, and it's really unfortunate. But the referees had such a hard time getting inducted into the Hall of Fame because of the way the categories were written. They finally decided to make their own category. So now with the third referee going into the Hall of Fame, I still think we're going to have 3 or 4 years of deceased officials before we get to any of the living ones. I hate to say that, but it's one of those sort of catching up kind of deal. And there were so many great ones. Dick Worley was as good as they got. I got to meet him and hang out with him, and as nice a man as he was a great referee in the ring.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the events that are happening that weekend. I know
you left hold on. You left one out.
Who did I miss? Let's see.
You left one out. You left one out that used to spray a green mist.
Oh, that's right. I had it right in front. I was going to ask about him. International division, and a lot of interest, especially nowadays with the Kabuki Warriors in WWE. But the original, there has been nobody scarier than the great Kabuki. The man must have had a gallon of green mist every time he went to the ring because he sprayed it on everybody. But yeah, it'll be great to have the great Kabuki inducted into the Hall.
He's one of those guys that's so much fun around the business, and if you really had to get after it in the ring, inside those ropes, and you really had to get after it, he wasn't the one to play with. He was pretty clever inside that ring, and he knew what he was doing. He wasn't one to play with in there, but he was a lot of fun. Just the nicest man. When I called him this year to tell him about it, he said, "Oh, Johnny Mantell's on. My friend, I think about you," because when he came here to Texas and wrestled for my brother Kenny, we had 2 or 3 different times we had dinners out at the farm, and he'd come out and Kenny was in the Fighting Roosters at that time. It was legal in Oklahoma, and so we'd have a couple rooster fights there for the day for him to come up and watch. He'd get on horseback and ride around and do stuff, and so a couple of times when I'd go to Japan, he'd come steal me at nighttime, and we'd go out all night long and eat and drink and have a good time. And he'd roll me back in the next morning and get on the bus and go to the next town. So I'm excited about seeing Kabuki come over and get his ring and hat. Just be truly honored, and it'll be an honor to have him over.
It sure will.
I mean, can you answer this real quick? Because I know what makes this Hall of Fame special, just in case the people out there don't know, is that it's the workers who are voting these people in. So you not only just cross paths with these people, you worked with many of these people. How cool is it for you all these decades later, long after your in-ring career and long after the career of these people has been over, how cool is it that you get to be a part of this special moment for them?
Yeah, so my special moment is getting a call and tell them, because I have nothing to do with the vote. I have nothing to do with the creation of the ballot, and that's our checks and balances for the system here. But I think it's very, very important, and that was one thing, the one major change we made when it moved from New York to Texas, was getting the wrestlers involved and having the wrestlers vote. So, when Ted DiBiase and Joe Laurinaitis and J.J. Dillon and Mark Lewin and, I can go on down the list of voters that votes every year. When they're voting and they're picking their people, and then when you get to see a ballot, and that's one advantage that I have, is I get to see the whole ballot once the process is over. The notes that the guys write, what a great ballot. Too hard to just pick one. I had to pick two. I mean, those kind of comments, when you see those kind of comments, you know that we're getting closer every year to having to be the exact ballot that it needs to be. And that's what we're really, the board's been looking at. We look at it very hard every year. This year we're hoping to have we have so many authors in town that are studying and researching wrestling. We're hoping to have a little moment of time where we can sit them in some place and do another historian kind of discussion about the ballot and what they think about it and how it could be broadened or opened up, or what are we going to do about independent guys here in the next 4 or 5 years? And we got independent guys been wrestling 30, 40 years now. They've never been on cable TV, but they're a star in their area, or they're a star in 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 or 12 states. What are we going to do with them? How are we going to induct them?
That's true.
There's a lot of those questions out there being asked right now, and so we're looking at this very hard. We're looking at this ballot every year, trying to make sure that we're inducting everybody that's deserving of being inducted into the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. And that means you got to make sure the historians are being inducted. You got to make sure that the wrestlers are getting their due, even though that maybe they weren't world champion, or maybe they weren't a big star on TV. They were just as important to that card and that group of men in that dressing room as anybody that was in it. There's a lot of guys out there. I mean, I could rattle off a couple names to you right now that I believe are Hall of Fame worthy. Johnny Rodz, S.D. Jones, Bronco Lubitsch.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Gene LaBelle. Mm-hmm. I can name off a whole group of them right now to you that I think are Hall of Fame worthy, but they don't get near the recognition because they weren't the big star at that time, or they weren't the world champion or the champion at that time. They were what they call today enhancement talent. Well, let me tell you something. That enhancement talent, if your enhancement talent's not better than your good talent can never be great.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Johnny,
and I don't know what I just said right there, but you need to coin that phrase. That's the truth.
We'll trademark it for you.
Okay.
Real quick, the weekend, of course, we'll have the Wrestling Under the Stars. You're bringing in matches. Some of the best independent promotions are going to bring matches that Friday night, and then.
Hey, do I need to bring my gear this year?
Absolutely, man. Bring your stuff.
There you go. All right, the Smash. You showed this, or you showed a little bit of this to me last week. Let's talk about these seminars, these kind of panel presentations that are planned for Induction Weekend?
So I visited with every fan I could visit with at Starrcade, and we talked about the Hall of Fame and what we do, and we talked about what they like and what they see and what they come to do, and so one thing they do over at Starrcade is they do these little sessions where Tully Blanchard talks to a crowd for an hour and a half. You know, so we thought, well, why don't we do something like that with the people in town that we're going to have in town? Why don't we do that? So we have the Bushwhackers coming, and we have Bobby Fulton of the Fantastics coming. So we're going to do a little Q&A seminar, watch a match or two of theirs with the group of people, and ask questions and talk and laugh with these guys, these legends, and visit with them. And the same thing, we're going to do a world-class one. We're going to have a group of guys that work for World Class with Fritz Von Erich here in town this year, and we're going to all get on that panel, and we're going to talk about those days working for Fritz and what it was like and who he worked with, and maybe show a match from everybody that's on that panel so the crowd can see who and what they were at that time.
Oh, heck yeah, that'd be really cool.
And then the last one of the day is going to be an author session where I think Kay has rounded up 12 or 14 different authors that'll be in this year. George Napolitano, a gentleman that just wrote a book about Mrs. Welch. Man, my mind is blank. You guys know I've been dropped on my head too many times. We got a whole group of authors coming in, so we thought we'd take advantage of that and let them do a session where they talk to you about how they wrote their books and how they researched it. And maybe we'll create the next generation of historians and get this thing to continue on for the next 100 years, because I know my body is not going to last that long, but we got to make sure that the history and the belief and the spectacular sport that this is stays alive and active in history, so that fans can come back and see it all the time.
Absolutely, there's going to be some fantastic panels, and I can't wait for that weekend. And a little birdie told. Go ahead.
We left out. We didn't even talk about Thursday night. We didn't. The panels on Friday, but Thursday night we're going to have dinner with the legends.
Right.
And an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet. And then we're going to go straight from there to a presentation of a movie I think they're called The Last Great Villain. It's a story about the Vachon brothers in Canada. And we're going to be the first showing of this movie in the United States. First time.
That's
Nobody
awesome.
else has shown it. Nobody else has seen it. We're going to be it. So we're going to be like... what's that place in Colorado they all go to for the movie festival? We're going to be like that place.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And a little birdie told me that Justin and I might have some sort of role somewhere. Can you shed a little light on this?
Well, you guys have come in and you've done so much with your radio show and talking to the guys and preserving history by being here with us, that, we thought we'd get you a little more involved, and I promise it won't hurt too much. I promise that it'll be fair and equal for all parties in concern. How about that?
All right.
Can I leave it at that for tonight?
We'll leave it for that. Induction weekend, third weekend in May, pwhf.org. For all the details. Tickets are on sale, right?
Absolutely, man. They're selling. They're selling every day right now.
And there's a great bundle where you get all the panels, you get the banquet, you get everything that weekend for one low price. So go to pwhf.org for all the details. You'll see the schedule. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Cowboy Johnny Mantell, the president of the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Cowboy, it's always good to talk to you. We can't wait for May. Can't wait to get up to Wichita Falls and be with everybody and just have a great old time.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, you know what, Justin and Stu, what you guys got to do is February 8th, if you're not anyplace else, you need to be in Waxahachie for that show for Killer.
That's right. That's when it is, February 8th.
I just had that put in front of me, so I'm going to tell you that right now. It's February 8th.
Yes.
Kay and I both will be there. I think Killer's going to make a special little presentation to Kay, which will be really sweet and awesome. And so we're looking forward to it.
That would be great. Johnny Mantell, thank you so much for joining us. All the best to you, and we'll be in touch.
I got a horn. I got a hand on the saddle horn, and my other one's my hat swinging in the air, y'all. Good night from Bowie, Texas. Yeehaw!
Great, as always, here, Cowboy Johnny Mantell. You can hear how excited he is for this year's induction weekend. And I'm excited, too, especially, you and I are going to be part of it. That's going to be fantastic.
Well, we're always a part of it.
But I think you and I are going to have a bigger part.
Oh,
I mean, we do our live podcast, recording, get everybody. But I think
it's kind of like going from the school play where we're like background trees to like speaking roles or something.
I think we may. Yes, that might be the best comparison yet. So, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, it's Royal Rumble season, which means you take that first step on the road to WrestleMania. We'll preview this weekend's Royal Rumble, plus NWA's got a pay-per-view. So we'll talk about that. We may even give you a shot to watch it for free. That and more coming up on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn.
Eli Drake. That is just a fact of life.
Let me talk to you. It's me, it's Eli Drake, and you're listening to the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. That is a fact of life. Yeah.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons. I'm still excited about Hall of Fame weekend. Good Lord.
Well, how can you not be?
I got Super Bowl coming up, but man, May can't get here sooner.
It's not like your team's in the Super Bowl.
That's true. They're not. This weekend, this Sunday, it's Royal Rumble. The 2020 edition of the Royal Rumble this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central on the network. Kickoff show starts 2 hours earlier, and they're emanating from Minute Maid Park, the home of the Houston Astros.
Oh, I was like, dang, baseball reference. Didn't get it at first. Now I did.
Yeah. We won't have to worry about stealing signs in wrestling. So, the card looks like this.
Not true.
What?
Stealing signs.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
no offense.
We're not talking about like, stop here sign. We're talking about, steal a second.
No, I'm talking about like the Young Bucks using the same signal that the OC uses.
That's so 2015.
Both of them
I wish the OC would stop using it.
From the NWO.
Yeah, I know.
I guess it's called like, I wouldn't say
it's too sweet. It's the too sweet. So they made this match last week on SmackDown. Sheamus has returned, and he's picking on Shorty G. So now we're going to get Shorty G and Sheamus. We're going to get Lacey Evans, who is starting to feel a little like a babyface, I guess.
That's what she's supposed to be.
I know. It's just
she's supposed to be the wholesome all-American girl.
Well, they've turned the former Marine, the mom, but I don't know. I'm still. It's still
not buying it.
It's one of those things.
What do you want from it?
I don't know. I mean, it's starting to get. I'm starting to buy in, but it's just. It's going to take a little time.
Do you need her to change her hair color? Are there too many blondes on the roster? That can be a thing, though. Sometimes people look too similar.
Well, look at Bayley. She changed her haircut.
It helped.
They need to change the picture, though. When they do the graphic and they show the matches and they have Bayley,
yeah.
Bayley smiles in that picture.
Oh.
She should not be smiling. She's supposed to look like the 90s teenager that listens to,
what, rap music?
No, grunge.
Grunge.
Yeah. Coke,
It's because anytime we talk about rap music, when we're talking about pro wrestling, I automatically think about that time in WCW where they had the Rap is Crap tour.
Oh, good.
With Kurt Hennig and the West Texas
Rednecks. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was god awful. By the way, who you got with Shorty G and Sheamus?
Shorty G, obviously.
Really?
Short guys have to stick together.
I'm going to go with Sheamus just because he's the one that came back.
No, Shorty G's the one that needs the win.
Bailey defending the SmackDown Women's title against Lacey Evans.
Bailey.
Of course, it's not. I mean,
I don't know. There's been a couple of pay-per-views where people won where I didn't think they were supposed to win.
Yeah.
So they haven't been totally. What's the word I'm looking for? Predictable.
Right. There's only 3 title matches on this card, by the way, so that's one of them.
But that perfectly makes sense because it's
Yeah.
Royal Rumble. I mean,
Right.
the big show is coming up in just 2 months.
Right. So
Or 3 months.
So are you still going with Bailey?
Oh yeah.
All right. For the Raw Women's title, Becky Lynch defending against Asuka. Becky Lynch looking for that debt to collect, the one that she has not gotten over yet.
Let me at least say that I really like this feud. It's been an entertaining feud.
That's great.
And it's a little old school throwback stuff because
is.
it's like her taking on a team of bad guys. It's like kind of like
Right.
Dusty taking on the Four Horsemen.
Right.
It kind of has that vibe to it. And it's just like everybody's over in this feud, which is great.
Yeah.
I still think that she will win, but I think the feud will continue on from here.
See, I think she would win, and then Becky will go on to challenge somebody at Mania, whether it's Shayna Baszler or if Ronda comes back or somebody like that. But I got a feeling this will be the end of the feud.
We'll see. I don't think so because they're going to have to carry it for one more month before WrestleMania. Or how many pay-per-views are they having in between this year for WrestleMania?
Usually, was it they have Elimination Chamber and what's the one? Fastlane.
Fastlane. Okay, yeah. So they have 2.
So you got 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah. So I'm saying you have to have something in between.
Right.
That's why I'm like, oh, okay. Well, this is going to carry over. Maybe one more pay-per-view that will end the next
could.
one, and then
I'll
have this
blow
set
off.
up.
And then set up. Yeah. In a strap match, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt defending the Universal title against Daniel Bryan.
Is there a reason why they chose a strap match? I mean, I'm glad that something different's being done.
To quote our good friend Simon Miller from What Culture Wrestling, stuff just happens.
Okay. Well,
I don't know why the strap match.
Are you excited about the fact that the WWE is using a match that they don't normally put on?
Sure. It is kind of out of the blue.
Now, are you being partial? Because I think if AEW had done something like this, I think we would all been really excited because it's like, oh, that's an old school callback.
Well, but AEW is, they do a few more gimmick matches too. We've seen the hardcore matches and everything. So the strap match is an old school gimmick. I remember.
When was the last time the WWF WWE had a strap match? I do remember Austin Vega. Savio Vega and Steve Austin had a Caribbean strap match at like a SummerSlam or something like that.
Savio Vega's wrestling for
MLW. Yeah.
Saw him. Look good. The Caribbean champion.
Yeah, I mean, hey, once a pro, always a pro. I mean, there's a reason why he got to the big level he did.
That's true.
Solid hand.
That's true.
Easily a solid hand.
I don't know why this match. It's one of those things. It was kind of like, let's just add something to it. And I'm going, well, you didn't really need to add because you got a pretty good rivalry here because, Daniel Bryan is.
There's a lot of history.
Yeah, you got the history. You got whoever the Fiend attacks, they're changed. Well, Daniel Bryan's trying to change the Fiend. In fact, you saw it on SmackDown. He actually ripped some of the Fiend's dreadlocks out. So wonder if that will change his look.
Anything that Daniel Bryan is in is always worth watching.
Oh, absolutely.
So this will be no different. It was just like strap match, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Interesting.
Who you got?
Man, that's a good question. I don't think there's going to be a clean winner, but there has to be a winner. Is that how a strap match works? Like, right? There's no DQ.
Yeah, it's no DQ. I mean, I'm going to go Fiend just because I get a feeling they're going to build towards
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And he's still a champion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll go Fiend. This is non-title?
No, this is for the title.
Okay, Fiend. Then, yeah. Hopefully it's just...
I would like to see Daniel Bryan win it, but...
But, like, the story doesn't call for that.
Yeah, as uncertain as WrestleMania is right now, I don't think that's part of the plan. In a Falls Count Anywhere match, this was kind of a surprise because a lot of people were talking Roman Reigns, King Corbin. They had the match. It was Roman Reigns and Robert Roode in a tables match.
Yeah.
If Roman won, he got to choose stipulation. If Roode won, Corbin got to choose stipulation. Everybody thought they're going to do a loser eats dog food match because they've been doing this whole dog thing, which So I was pleasantly surprised when not only did Roman win, he chose Falls Count Anywhere.
See, this is exactly how they get you. They
And
give
he-
you bad
know,
television for a while, and then boom, they change it right on.
Then it changed. And the fact that they're going to be in Minute Maid Park, it's an expansive park.
It could really go anywhere,
It
right?
could, you know. So
You ever seen the movie from Howard Stern, Private Parts?
Yes.
And do you remember when they're talking about the ratings? It's
Yeah.
all like,
Yeah.
why do people listen to him? Because they want to hear what he has to say next. And why do people hate him? Because and keep listening to him? Oh,
they
because
want to hear us. Yeah,
and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
basically pro wrestling. It's all like,
It
well,
is.
why do you hate it? Well, I hate it right now because it sucks. But I want to see what happens next. You know,
Right.
it's just one of those things.
Well, and I will say this: WWE has. I think they've actually turned the corner a bit. They've put on some pretty good Raws.
Yeah,
I mean, they're still a little down. You know, a little, a few.
it's hard to stay consistent though when
but
there's
I
that many shows.
I think right now, it's looking pretty good.
And it couldn't happen at a better time, obviously.
Right.
Getting
I mean,
everything revved up for
yeah.
the road to WrestleMania. But it's a very interesting concept in this matchup because think about it. When we started this show, we would have never imagined the day where we would be questioning whether Roman Reigns would be winning a mid-card match, let alone not be vying for the world title.
Right.
And I have some doubts because I know that King Corbin is hated. I mean, he has heat that you would wish that you could
Yes.
generate if you were supposed to play a heel character.
And for once, it's not go away heat. This is the heat you want as a heel.
Yeah, and I mean, he's really falling into his character, and I'm really starting to enjoy his work as King Corbin. It's just, who would have thought, like, the King gimmick actually work out well?
Mm-hmm.
It's like 1 out of every 8 that the King gimmick works out well for, and it happened to work out for King Corbin. So I could see him winning this match
Yeah.
potentially.
I think I think they've kept Roman out of the title picture on purpose. When he came back after his leukemia went into remission, I think they wanted him to kind of enjoy just being back. You know, now if you listen to the rumor and innuendo that's out there from different sites, the picture right now would be Fiend versus Roman for the title at Mania. I don't know if that happens, and obviously they've got 3 months to get us there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happens, but I guess we'll see.
But I'm waiting for him to come back and reclaim his throne because I really think that he was poised to be the next superstar because he already had the John Cena welcoming, essentially.
Right.
He either got the booze or he got the love. And nobody else could do that like Cena except for Reigns.
That's
and
true.
I still think he is poised to be their next breakout star if positioned correctly.
So you got Roman in this one?
Actually, I think King Corbin wins.
Okay. I'm going to go Roman just for the sake of difference. All right. Then it's the 2 Royal Rumble matches. The Women's Royal Rumble match, right now, as we speak, they have 4 names announced. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Sarah Logan. So there's going to be a lot of adding here between now and Sunday.
Which is the Bella that can still work? The one that isn't Daniel Bryan's wife.
That would be Nikki, I guess.
Okay.
See, I thought Nikki is the one that can't work.
Oh.
I thought Brie is the one that can still
Can
go.
Brie still work?
I think so.
Well, then she's going to win the Rumble.
You got to be kidding me.
Do you see her not on the list? You see somebody that's on the list else that would not be qualified to win it? I think Brie is more than qualified
We don't
to
have
win the Rumble.
we don't have the list.
What about Mickey James? How about, can I pick Mickey James?
You know, I'm supposed to talk to her at Super Bowl.
Well, good. You can ask her if she's
I'll ask her. Well, no, by then we'll know.
You're like,
But,
well, it's going to be a little late.
Yeah. So, I'm on. You know what? I'm gonna go with the popular opinion.
Mandy Rose?
Shayna Baszler.
Not Mandy Rose.
Not Mandy Rose. Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler, huh?
Yep. Shayna Baszler is going to come up, win the Rumble, and then challenge for one of the titles. So
Maybe.
we're going to see pretty much every member of the NXT women's roster, I think.
Maybe. I'm still
Because they
thinking.
got to fill that thing.
I'm like, how can you have WrestleMania and not have Charlotte Flair in the main event? I don't care if I've already seen it. She's like the best worker on your card.
True.
And I really think that her and Becky need to have the one-on-one match to kind of kind of make up for how difficult it is to have a 3-way dance.
Right.
I think they deserve to have that one-on-one classic.
So are you saying Charlotte then?
I'm still saying Brie Bella, but Charlotte, yes.
Good God.
What, you wouldn't want to pick maybe Sasha Banks?
No. Men's World Rumble match right now, as it stands: Brock Lesnar, who we know is going in at number 1. Roman Reigns, King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Braun Strowman, Eric Rowan, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Elias, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Otis, Tucker, Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Samoa Joe. Does Brock go all the way?
You think he's going to run wire to wire?
I don't. Someone's going to eliminate him.
But who do you think it's going to be?
That's a good question.
Do you think who eliminates Brock is the person that wins the Rumble?
Not necessarily.
Because right now, that's how I see it. I think the person that eliminates Brock, it's going to come down to them and Brock final 2 in the ring, and he has to eliminate Brock. Or there's going to be 2 or 3 people, and kind of like the way that Flair won the Rumble back in '92. Right. I think it's going to be an ending like that. But the thing is that person that comes
the title's
out,
not on the line.
No, I understand that, but I think the person that does this isn't just a regular wrestler. I think the person that comes out and wins the Royal Rumble ends up being somebody like John Cena or Daniel Cormier or Cain Velasquez or somebody really random to set up the WrestleMania match.
The rumors have been there about Cain Velasquez. I have not heard one thing about Daniel Cormier. But
he has mentioned it in the past.
And
though.
John Cena,
I know he's Hollywood, but hey, you need to promote your own movies. And even Batista goes back. The Rock would go back to promote. Yeah. So why not John Cena? In fact, that is my pick.
That's your pick?
Cena.
All right.
Yeah.
You're going to pick Cena. I don't know who to pick. I'll be honest. This one.
John Cena is going to come and win the Rumble.
I'm not going to go John Cena.
Or he's going to at least enter the Rumble so he can set up his WrestleMania.
You know what? I'm going to go with the double shot. I'm going to go Roman Reigns.
Oh, okay.
So
no Undertaker.
That's no, he doesn't do a Rumble match. He shows up the night after, challenge somebody, or a couple weeks later.
Oh, that's true.
So anyway, that's the Royal Rumble this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central on the WWE Network. By the way, there is going to be some sort of a watch along, and we'll put this out on social media. But I will be doing some sort of a watch along from Miami with my good friend Joe Roderick, the host of the Oh Water Rush podcast with Road Warrior Animal, and NFL reporter for 590 The Fan in St. Louis. So check that out. Real quick, NWA's got a pay-per-view this Friday from the GPB studios in Atlanta, NWA Hard Times. The card looks like this. Nick Aldis taking on Flip Gordon, representing Villain Enterprises. The Rock and Roll Express will defend the NWA World Tag Team titles against the Wild Cards and against Eli Drake and James Storm. Aaron Stevens will defend the National Heavyweight title, or the third degree National Heavyweight title, against Scott Steiner. Here's an interesting one. Allison Kay defending the World Women's title against Thunder Rosa.
Oh, I mean, the card's completely stacked. Every match is something that I'm interested in seeing. They've done a terrific job with their studio show. Their storylines make clear and concise sense. And it's really easy to follow along.
And then the tournament to crown the first since the 80s NWA television champion. Right now it's Ricky Starks taking on Matt Cross. Matt Cross gets one of the open slots. Zeke Dice gets Dan Moff from Ring of Honor.
I never thought I would like that character as much as I do with Dice.
He's something else.
Yeah, but I mean, it works. It works.
Question Mark will take on Trevor Murdoch, and then Tim Storm will take on Mr. Anderson. So that's NWA Hard Times this Friday. You can see it on pay-per-view and Fight TV. And guess what? We've got you a chance to win a code to watch it for free on Fight TV. Here's how you win it. There will be a tweet on top of our Twitter page at SGTWATX. Go there, follow us on Twitter, follow Fight TV on Twitter at Fight TV, like and retweet that tweet, and then we will pick a winner. It will be chosen Friday at noon Central Time, and we will notify the winner, and you will get a code to watch NWA Hard Times for free, thanks to our good friends at Fight TV. So good luck. and enjoy the show.
I feel like we should give our listeners an option. Like if they want us to go over, eat their pizza, and drink their beer while doing this, that we should give them that option sometime.
Who knows? We're going to do a podcast-only segment where we're going to talk about the Worlds Collide show with NXT and NXT UK. Plus, we're going to recap the crazy wrestling weekend that was here in Austin.
That's coming up next on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Super ACH, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling podcast-only segment. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons. It was good to see ACH on Sunday night at Inspire Pro Wrestling's new Ecstasy of Gold.
I mean, you were busy all weekend. You're
I
double
was.
booked. Who would have thought that you got double booked?
Well, who would have thought I would have been ring announcing for Game Changer Wrestling?
Hey, you got booked. There's pro wrestlers out there that would have given left testicle just to get booked on that show.
Are you kidding? I was like, okay.
You're right. They would have given both.
So
but you
here's
get the idea.
a little bit of backstory. So I'm sitting at home on Saturday, and I was going to go to the show. So I'm kind of sitting there, I'm taking care of a few things because, Super Bowl and everything. And all of a sudden I get a text from TJ McAloon, our good friend, the co-owner of Inspire Pro Wrestling and the head of McAloon Productions. He goes, hey, GCW may need a ring announcer. Are you interested? I said, sure. He goes, okay. I said, do I need a coat and tie? He goes, I don't know. So, of course, I grabbed coat and tie, just make sure. So I head down to the Blue Genie Art Bazaar where the event was happening. Met the booker, good guy named Brett, and so we talked. And then he goes, and I said, "Yeah, if you need me, yeah, okay." Well, I said, "Do you need me to change?" Because I was wearing the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling shop shirt that you see us in at different events and jeans. He goes, no, actually, you're kind of overdressed as it is. But I said, okay, sure. He also said, and feel free to cuss. Now, we're broadcast professionals. We've both been in sports radio for a long time. And that's like rule one. When you first get started, it gets pounded into your head. When you have a microphone in front of you, doesn't matter whether it's live or not, you don't cuss. And, of course, being trained like that, because we don't want to get thrown off the air. So it was odd. I had to force myself to – I did cuss a couple times.
I was going to say, but as a professional, I think you can bring yourself to cuss if you have to.
Well, yeah, but it's just, it's that nature. If I had, when I'm sitting here with this microphone, I'm not going to let the F word fly. Even on here with podcast, I'm not going to do that. But I did it. It was kind of cool. Game Changer Wrestling. I've seen highlights from them.
Yeah,
but I've never seen like a real full on card. Dear Lord, that was crazy.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it was fantastic, and we got to see some great talent. Not only some of the Game Changer Wrestling talent, but also some of our favorites here in Texas that got to. Like Dirty Andy Dalton taking on Chris Dickinson.
Yeah, it was a really good mixture, and I saw
it was.
I saw it, man. It was good to see Alley Cat get a lot of love, almost more than Nick Gage.
Oh man, Alley Cat. I mean, that girl. She went through the ringer with Nick Gage.
Yeah, I never knew that this was going to be the type of wrestling that she was going to be into when she first started out, but she has made a name for herself by willing to take these risks.
When I saw her hand bleeding, I kept thinking, George De La Isa didn't train her for that. I'm pretty sure. So, she ended up with 11 stitches. It was cut on her right hand, cut on the left hand, and cut on her
arm.
Yeah, in fact, she couldn't wrestle the following night at Inspire.
Yeah, because of those injuries. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was crazy.
What was the craziest thing that you saw?
Schlock and Masada, that one just nuts.
Oh, like it wasn't going to be.
Let's see, who else was there?
Where does he buy those skewers at? Does he just get them on? Does he just get a bulk deal at
he's
Amazon or something?
Yeah, he must go like Costco and let me get a gross of them.
For real, a gross. How many constitute a gross?
I don't know. Spider Nate Webb. Got to know. We've met a few times, but really got to know him this weekend. Real good dude.
Nice.
We had fun with him. Mance Warner, of course. Old Mancer.
The AEW heavyweight champion.
That's right. He is.
Mm-hmm.
He is. And it was so crazy because, the previous weekend, saw him in that barbed wire match at MLW against Jimmy Jacobs.
Yeah, right.
And now he's back bleeding again. I mean, it's just nuts.
Man, these guys, the guys that do the death match, hardcore stuff, are just on another level. Like, they're like the punk rocker of the wrestling scene.
They definitely are. This was, like I said, this definitely had an ECW feel for sure. Would
you agree with like the sentiment that most people share that Game Changer is probably the closest thing to the original ECW feel in the current package?
I would. It's pretty close because of the fan loyalty.
That
crowd. And this was here in Austin. This is not their home base.
Yeah.
But that crowd, first of all, it was a huge crowd.
Yeah.
And that crowd was hot from start to finish. I mean, they were all over. There was one guy. So GCW streams their shows on Fight TV. And there was one guy, as the hard cam is, looking at the ring, there's one guy sitting in the front row. He's being referred to as Green Hat Guy.
Yeah.
And he kept getting up. And, if you go on Twitter and search hashtag GCW picture, you will see a lot of bad, ill feelings towards Green Hat Guy.
Oh, well, yeah.
Now, I will say this. Joey Janela did tweet out, should I book Green Hat Guy in the Cluster F, during Mania weekend?
Well, yes, of course.
Just so he can get beat up by, But, yeah, Ricky Shane Page, Mance Warner. Oh, my God. That was one, and that one was because as soon as they hit the ring, they started fighting. I didn't even get a chance to do that. That's the fastest that this 51-year-old fat man moved in a long time.
See, so we can still train you. We saw DDP wrestle last week.
Well, I got to have proper motivation, like fear for my life. In fact, there was one where I'm standing outside the ring, and Nick Gage was going to say something with the microphone. So I'm standing right outside. I've got the microphone. Well, that's when he decided to powerbomb Gregory Irons through glass. Nice. Of course, the glass explodes, heads towards me. I'm going, oh, God, I'm going to get cut. But I didn't. So.
Well, you're Army trained. It's like shrapnel.
Yeah, I was in the part of the Army where you're supposed to hide. So. But, yeah, Matthew Justice, Jimmy Lloyd, that was a hell of a match. Blake Christian, Gino Medina was fantastic. There was a young kid. Who was it? Let's see if I can find it. Chris Bay and Alex Zane.
Oh, yeah.
Dashing Chris Bay we've seen. And he is such phenomenal.
But I've heard
Cody Rhodes, but Alex Zane, real cool dude. Not to mention, best ring intro from the nearest Taco Bell drive-thru, weighing in at 630 Taco Supremes. You gotta love that. Brad Kellner would love that. Brad's such a Taco Bell guy.
I didn't even know that.
Middays with Trey BK. But yeah, it was all in all fantastic.
Do you eat Taco Bell?
Once in a while.
Yeah, out of like necessity or out of like choice?
I just get a craving for it every now and again.
Oh, I mean, maybe this is like me being too Hispanic, but no, I didn't. I never eat at Taco Bell.
They've got some stuff I like.
Yeah, like what?
Let's see.
I mean, I've heard like they're actually one of the more healthy options now because of their food source, which is kind of funny when you actually go back and look at the research.
No, it's good. I like the Burrito Supremes. I like
Burrito
the chalupas.
Supreme. Okay.
Tacos are good.
I was going to say, is this like a pro wrestling staple? Have people changed their dietary intake now over the last 10 years since I've been a wrestler?
I don't know, but Anyway, but huge thanks to GCW for having me. A lot of fun. I had shout outs on Twitter.
Well, yeah.
My good friend Dave Hancock, who runs Wrestling Travel, helps out with StarCast.
Nice.
He saw me. He said, "Hey, nice to see Stu Meyer on the mic." I was like, "Hey, thanks, Dave." Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc., our good friend there, gave me a nice little buzz. Also, not to mention, I got to hang out with my dear friend Kevin Gill.
Let this be a lesson to all the inspiring pro wrestlers out there, and I guess some of those inspiring broadcasters. Maybe sometimes you just got to show up to the building.
Yeah. Well, we see it all the time with independent cards. You see wrestlers that show up just in case.
Oh yeah. I know. I've done my fair share of those.
Right.
Hey, mister, did everybody show up? Or did you need an extra hand? You got a three-way match that you needed to get done?
Yeah. So anyway, that was Saturday night. Sunday night, Inspire Pro Wrestling, New Ecstasy of Gold. The big story, Effie. Effie is now our Pure Prestige champion. Hard-fought match against Ricky Starks.
Nice. Brunch for everyone.
But Effie, and that was a huge moment. I know Eamon Payton was very emotional about that. My broadcast partner for Inspire. But yeah, congratulations, Effie. Good dude. Got to hang out a lot after the show. Also, we had the Lawless Darkness Hardcore Elimination match. Usually do this in the tournament. So they just do. Let's just knock it out one night.
Yeah.
Cody Lane, the Lawless Darkness for 2019. Eventually, it was Dmitry Alexandrov getting the win. He is now the Lawless Darkness for 2020. We did see the mystery opponent.
Oh, yeah? Who was it?
The Great Depression.
He came back.
I
knew it.
And apparently he has some sort of connection with Alabama, the Dangerous Dame.
Oh, wow.
He was protecting her and stuff. So
crazy.
But yeah, it was great. And Blake Christian was in that as well. Ethan Price was in it. But yeah, in the end, the Bear Fighter is now your Lawless Darkness for 2020. Can you imagine? As crazy as he is, now he doesn't have to follow rules. Not that he did anyway. But.
I know. I was going to say, I guess this just gives him free reign to do anything.
Luigi Primo is still the Inspire Pro champion.
Oh,
as crazy as it sounds, he had a triple threat with Ruthless Ryan Davidson. It was supposed to be Alley Cat, but because of the injury she sustained the night before, Veda Scott, the first XX Division champion, of course, the litigious one. She was in the match, but Luigi Primo gets the surprise roll-up. He's still the Inspire Pro champion.
Man, what a run.
Pizza for everybody.
He's been on a run.
He has.
Almost every company he's been working for, he's been doing really well.
He has. Will Alday had an open challenge. And in probably the biggest shocker of the night, the challenge was answered. Remember we were talking last week?
Yeah.
You mentioned a name. Showtime Matthew Palmer.
See, I knew it.
Come back.
I knew it.
And looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And Rossi Castillo was with him.
Wow.
And apparently he's turned a new leaf.
Okay.
He's a good guy now.
No.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess after going through all that, I told you he was kind of like having a Shawn Michaels moment. He had to go home. He was hurt.
Well, see, I really thought he retired. So needless to say, when I saw him come through that curtain, I mean, we were all it was like we saw a ghost.
Well, I mean, I'm happy for him that he got.
I'm thrilled
that he's getting to return to the profession that he loves. I'm just saying that after when you're away for something for so long, it kind of makes you change a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe but at the same token, once he gets back into the groove, maybe you see him change back.
That's true. That's true.
But the last time I remember seeing him is I always think back to that match they had with Steve Areno where they took apart the ring and
the cinder blocks and the kitchen sink. And
I mean, you think about that match that he went through and to think about the other matches he's gone through. It's like, of course he was going to be banged up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everybody needs a little time off every now and then.
Speaking of the Pinfall Wizard, he got his win. Went through a gauntlet match with Joe DeMauro, Mark Champion, and Chris Adam from Team Super Academia. Steve Areno, still surly and mean as ever, which
So what's next for him? Now that he actually, he called for this match, he said
still
that
wants, he still wants a shot at the Pure Prestige title, but now he's got it. He wanted it against Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Now he's going to face Effie if he wants that match. So we'll see.
But he's a former champion. It's not like he can't do this.
Well, he's never held the Pure Prestige title. He's held the Inspire Pro title.
But didn't he hold the Inspire Pro title when it was the main title? Because
no.
they switched it, right?
No, that was after.
It was after.
Yeah, because remember that was Keith Lee and Starks back in
Was that the unification one?
Late 2016.
Okay.
When Ricky was the Inspire Pro champion and Keith was the Pure Prestige champion. So that was the ranking match. So Shag Nasty, Dirty Andy Dalton, Moonshine Mantell getting the win over Spider Nate Webb and Mance Warner. And every bit of violence you can imagine. That was
it just carried over from the night before. So yeah,
Jay Sirius somehow escaped getting killed by Nick Gage.
Don't say somehow. I think that belittles his actual training acumen and his wrestling ability.
No, it doesn't belittle that. It's the simple fact Nick Gage wanted blood.
Well, yeah,
because remember Jay Sirius, he beat him with a kendo stick.
Yes,
trying to save MJS.
Yes.
Sorry, Hyde.
Like any good friend would.
Sorry, Hyde.
But you have to remember that Jay Sirius is a well-trained professional wrestler, and he beat him to the punch, and that was a fantastic roll-up on how he was able to get the 1, 2, 3.
I don't doubt that. I'm just saying.
I mean, you saw that. He got him into the pinning combination, and then shifted his weight over.
Like I said, he escaped.
Hey, man, it's better. It's just like boxing. It's not about slugging it out.
Good for him because, like I said, we were going to have to notify his next kin if Nick Gage had his way with it.
Well, we did have to call Allie's mom and have her go down.
I got to meet Allie's mom on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Sweet lady.
Yeah, really nice lady.
I say sweet lady. She's probably my age.
Well, she's a really nice lady, but
yeah,
I mean,
sweet.
like, it's amazing how, it's got to be kind of difficult to see your flesh and blood.
Absolutely.
And her flesh and blood all over the place from your flesh and blood. You get what I'm saying?
Right. But yeah, all in all, good stuff. Inspire Pro Wrestling. We'll let you know when the next event is. They've got this thing, the Texas Forever, as part of the collective on WrestleMania weekend in Tampa. So in fact, they've already announced Filthy Tom Lawler will be a part of that.
I did see that.
So I had no plan to go to Tampa this year.
You say that like you weren't interested.
I wasn't until this got announced.
You knew you were going to go.
No.
Yes, you did.
I had nothing. What was I going to do? I'm not going to go to Mania. I don't want to sit in Raymond James Stadium for
You didn't have to sit the whole time.
7 hours.
You can just go for a
just
little
like
while.
I didn't want to sit in MetLife. Thank God I didn't.
Well, that's different. This is Tampa. This is the home of like professional wrestling.
Well, you also forget I'm going to see that stadium next year for the Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, but that's the Super Bowl. This is WrestleMania. This is where most of the wrestlers live, in Tampa.
I know.
Hulk Hogan's just going to fly in on a helicopter and do something because he lives right there.
I might go. We'll see. We mentioned Royal Rumble. The night before is...
if you show up, you're going to get booked.
Well, yeah.
I mean, hey, that's how pro wrestlers do it, though. I was like, you are living the pro wrestler lifestyle. You show up, you get booked.
Yeah, I know.
Is it nice to be wanted?
I'm not
getting booked.
I am always grateful when someone wants.
That's why I asked Johnny if I need to take my tights, because last time they had that little, reunion Royal Rumble, and I was like, well, I saw what was in there. I was like, I can still go if those guys can go.
Yeah. So the night before Royal Rumble at the Toyota Center is Worlds Collide, because they can't get enough of this brand supremacy. So it's a battle between NXT and NXT UK.
I'm okay with that, though.
I'm okay with it just because the matches will be so much better. The pre-show match, in fact, Kaylee Ray, representing NXT UK, taking on NXT's HBIC, Mia Yim.
For a minute there, I thought you said Kylie Ray, and I was like, what?
No,
she went to the UK? Wow.
Kaylee Ray.
Crazy.
Kaylee Ray.
Okay.
Here's one that I didn't think we would see, but why not? Mustache Mountain, Trent Seven and Tyler Bate from NXT UK taking on, at least for one night only, the reunited DIY.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Ciampa Gargano.
How badass is that?
That's pretty cool. Angel Garza has to defend the NXT Cruiserweight title in a 4-way. Involved are Isaiah Swerve Scott from NXT.
This might be his chance.
A.K.A. Shane Strickland.
This might be his chance.
And Jordan Devlin and Travis Banks from NXT UK.
This could be Swerve's chance.
I would love to see Swerve as Cruiserweight champ.
Yeah, for real.
We love Swerve. Finn Balor from NXT taking on Ilya Dragunov from NXT UK. Tony Storm from NXT UK is challenging Rhea Ripley from NXT for the NXT Women's title.
Wow, dude! Storm against Ripley. That's gonna be a good match.
That is. And the main event, 8-man tag, Imperium from NXT UK. I think they're finally going to call the NXT United Kingdom champion Walter, along with Eichner, Barthel, and Alexander Wolf, taking on the Undisputed Era with Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and of course,
yeah.
So you saw when Undisputed Era attacked Imperium at Takeover Blackpool.
Oh yeah, and I think that Undisputed Era still wins this match. I think
I got a feeling they will.
They have to be. I mean, the way that they're being built up, they're like the strongest stable in all of WWE.
Oh yeah. Oh, easily
more than Rollins stable. Any of those. Like, I would take these guys in a fight over anybody else with this group of 4-on-4.
What do you think about Rollins and Buddy Murphy as tag champs?
I like it. I know you would hate it because it came at a cost to our boys, but at the same token,
well, not just that. Because you look at this stable, 4 guys.
Yeah,
2 of the guys are a tag team.
Oh, I understand.
AOP. Why didn't you have them go after the tag titles?
I guess just because they don't connect on the same level as Rollins and Murphy connect. And having them as a team together is a really interesting dynamic because it's more of that, now we're getting that Horseman feel here on the main roster, because now it's like you have Flair, you have your working tag team that's out of the picture right now, and this is your second man. This is like the young upstart. This is like your version, the new version of Evolution, essentially. Like, this is the upstart
a little bit.
And we've been told how good Buddy, and we've seen the matches. He's really good.
Oh, he's fantastic, and I'm glad Buddy Murphy's got a title.
But
now.
I mean, think about this. Now he has a title, a main title, and he's in like the main event picture because he's always going to be next to Seth Rollins.
He's in a big storyline. So
so that's good for him.
Yeah.
And you already know that the Viking Raiders, I don't think they'll ever split them up anytime soon.
They better not.
You know that they'll be in contention for the tag titles again. But at the same token, I'm kind of wondering, why didn't they ever have to fight any real teams besides the jobbers that they would give them on Monday night? Don't get me wrong, they had big title defenses. That was quite frank
because there aren't that many tag teams on Raw.
I could see that too.
I mean, you got AOP, you got OC, you had Ryder and Hawkins, Street Profits.
I know, but there was like no legitimate competition, right?
Not really.
Yeah, it was just like they were just getting fed squashes most of the time. So I could see them being champion once again really soon.
Yeah, and they should. I mean, look, you do not have to split up every tag team.
But there must be a Marty Jannetty and there must be a Shawn Michaels too. No two teams, one team can ever float together.
Ricky and Robert haven't split up.
Yeah, but Robert's
they're the tag champs.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Robert Gibson, somewhere deep down inside, does have to hate the fact that he never got the title shots that Ricky was getting.
Well, but still, you don't have to split them up. You don't. Just like I don't want to see the New Day split up. I think they're still incredibly entertaining. I'd love to see Big E get a singles run. But I don't want him.
Well, it's going to have to.
I want it to be kind of like Kofi. I want it to be, Big E gets a shot with the support of Xavier and Kofi.
Oh, I mean,
just like Kofi did with Xavier and Big E.
But as much as we all want that, I think where wrestling does a really nice job is showing you that the real world, people get jealous really quick at other people's success.
We don't want the real world in wrestling.
And very
That's
rarely,
why it's wrestling.
Oh my God!
I know.
Wow, Stu, they
awful.
changed you.
I'm sorry. It's just awful.
How do you like the new world look of professional wrestling?
It's all rosy and fun.
Where nobody gets offended.
And everybody's happy.
All the time. Because everybody...
But still, let's put it this way. Big E is 1,000 times more entertaining as a babyface than he is a heel.
Well, I know he's entertaining.
Because you get to see his personality.
I know that, but at the same token, it means more. You have more emotional investment once you have the teacher versus student aspect.
Yeah.
When somebody turns on somebody after a long time. When somebody cheats on somebody after a long time. I mean, it hurts people. It makes people take story. I mean, Matt Hardy has a job thanks to the fact... Well, first he lost his job because of that fact, and then he got his job back because it was so raw and it was so real.
Yeah.
That people wanted to see it play out.
Brett and Owen, same thing, you know.
Well, that was all worked, but yes, it was really good.
Yeah. By the way, do you believe that Matt Hardy's about to be done and may go to AEW? There's the talk that he's winding up his deal with WWE, and the talk is, again, rumor innuendo, that he would go to AEW and he's the exalted one for the Dark Order.
Oh, I mean, if they put him in something like that, I guess it will work. I was just like, they're still kind of trying to figure out their whole card situation.
Yeah. And
just because, I guess he's different because he's going to be a for sure Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And and he's a really good talent to have. He has a good mind for the business, and especially for the fans that would like the AEW product. A lot of those fans were fans that liked the broken Matt Hardy stuff,
including me.
Well, it took everybody a little while at first.
It did. Oh, it took me a little while.
But I can see where he would like to use a little bit more of that creativity.
Yeah.
But at the same token, if there's a plan for him to have another big WWE run or something comparable with him and his brother one last time out, then I can see him staying.
I got a feeling they need to get, I think Jeff has to get some help first. And hopefully that's what he's doing now. So speaking of AEW, as we record this on Tuesday night, tomorrow night, AEW Dynamite, supposed to come from the Chris Jericho Rock and Rager, the cruise. We're going to have matches on the cruise ship. Kind of interested in seeing that. I've seen some of the pictures on Twitter, like Nyla Rose on the beach and John Moxley singing karaoke with his eye patch.
Yeah.
So
it looks like a good time.
They've announced the
Definitely
third one.
Interesting.
The third one's coming up. Is going to be next February. So put your deposits down now.
And when did they come into Cedar Park?
February 12th.
Right. I was going to say it's coming up.
Yeah. February 12th. Not too long. So, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as that time comes soon. When we come back, we're going to let you know what's happening in independent wrestling around the area. You're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Boom, boom. Cocabana. Boom, boom. Cocabana. Boom, boom. Cocabana. It's Cocabana. Straight out of the shy, Mr. Shake and Bake 45.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? This is professional wrestler, professional podcaster, Colt Boom Boom Cabana, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Mazel tov.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the horn. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons. Colt Cabana looked pretty good on NWA Power recently.
Oh yeah, I was like that whole show. I love.
Oh,
I like watching it. I always make time to watch it.
Billy Corgan doing commentary on the match with Nick Aldis and Ricky Morton. How about that?
I mean, who would have thought in 2020 you would have saw Ricky Morton in the ring wrestling
for the world title,
the 10 pounds of gold? Crazy.
That's right. We've got some independent shows coming up this weekend. We got to let you know about. We are going to start in San Antonio. Heavy Metal Wrestling presents Cease and Destroy. They'll be Friday night at the 502 Bar in San Antonio. Doors open at 7 p.m. Su Young will be there. Masada will be there, probably with a lot of skewers. The Latin Hearts, El Intocable Gino will be there.
There you go. The
Cody
untouchable
Lane
one.
And more. That's Heavy Metal Wrestling Friday night in San Antonio. Texas All-Star Wrestling presents Rumble in the Garden Saturday at the Social Beer Garden in Houston. Bell time 2 p.m. Steve DeMarco, Big Daddy Yum Yum, Alex Gracia, Jared Wayne, and more. That's Texas All-Star Wrestling Saturday in Houston. And then and also on Saturday, Sabotage Wrestling and Lucha Brutal join up to present War of the Genders 4. That's this Saturday at the Southern Junction in Irving. Bell time 7 p.m. Heather Monroe, Veda Scott, Will Alday, Kylie Ray, and Chris Cruz among those scheduled to appear. That's Sabotage Wrestling, Lucha Brutal, War of the Genders 4 this Saturday in Irving. And that's a look at independent wrestling around the area. Make sure you go see a show. Support independent wrestling.
Are you surprised that more of these companies didn't take advantage of the lull between the Super Bowl Sunday and NFC playoff? You know, this one bye week. Like, this would have been a good time to really get a lot of their shows on because you would have been no competition. Not saying that those fans cross over.
Right. I think a lot of promotions are just, they're kind of accustomed to doing the third. It's like middle of the month seems to be like the heaviest weekend.
Oh yeah, I know that, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm always thinking, I'm not the one that puts these shows together, but I'm always thinking about the other sports.
Right.
But that's not their base audience. That's just me.
What do you got going this week and weekend?
Shoot, for once, I'm just gonna get notes put together. But I mean, I just came off of like a.
I know you spent like all weekend at Flow Sports doing basketball and stuff.
like 5 days,
and
not including the Saturday stretch where I did 5 games. So thank you for reminding me. He's not going to get enough press about this, so I just wanted to send a quick shout to head coach Andre Cook of the St. Edward Hilltoppers men basketball team. Career win number 300 this past Saturday.
Oh, congratulations, coach!
Yeah, I mean 300's a big thing, especially at the college level. So good
Shaka
for him.
Smart's not going to get that. At least not at Texas.
So fans, if you want to see some winning basketball, I suggest that you head on to the Hilltop while they're still playing.
That's right. Speaking of which, we are going to be preempted next week as the Horns are at TCU. Shaka Smart may not be long for the Burn Orange Nation,
which really saddens me because I loved his work at VCU.
Yeah, I know. He changed his coaching style and everything. So anyway, we'll do podcast only. I'll be in Miami for my 8th year. I'm anchoring the coverage of Super Bowl 54 for the Horns, so proud to be out there. So I'll be heading out there on Sunday.
Such a tough life.
Going to these parties and
smoking cigars and
smoke
stuff.
Cigars, yeah.
Having to eat all this per diem food.
That's fantastic. Anyway, so check out the Horn all week for interviews and everything from Super Bowl Radio Row. I'll be out there. It'll be a fantastic. Huge thanks to Moonshine Ridge Distillery for sending me out there. Go check them out at moonshineridgeinc.com. And it'll be a lot of fun. And we're going to have a blast. And I'll do a podcast from there. I'll probably have Joe Roderick from 590 The Fan in St. Louis and the co-host for Road Warrior Animals podcast. And I may get Will Gavin, our friend from TalkSport in the UK. He's there for Super Bowl, and he's a big pro wrestling guy, so may try to get him as well. I am scheduled to talk to Mickey James. We're also going to get the Gorillas of Destiny on Radio Row.
Okay.
Because New Japan will be in Miami that week.
Smart.
And Tama and Tonga want to promote their Bullet Club beach party.
Sweet.
So maybe seeing them. So stay tuned. Who knows? But yeah, check out the Horn all week for the sights and sounds as we get ready for the Niners and the Chiefs.
It should be a good Super Bowl. I'm hoping for at least a good game.
I am too, believe me. So that'll do it for this week's Sports Guy Talking Wrestling. You can follow Justin the Smash Simmons on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter at SGTWATX. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We are proud to be the official broadcast partner of the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we're proud to be part of the great lineup you hear every day. On the flagship station for the Texas Longhorns, we are the Horn. Catch us Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central on the Horn, or you can catch us anytime by going to hornfm.com and click on the On-Air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast platform. Our thanks to Cowboy Johnny Mantell for joining us, and our thanks to you for giving us a little bit of your time tonight. For Justin, I'm Stu. We will see you at the matches.